John chapter 5 verses 17 to 27. But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Having been confronted for healing on the Sabbath, essentially for working on the Sabbath, Jesus says that he works as his Father works. I love that he says it in the present tense, and I work. Jesus is alive, working right now. Isn't that amazing? And Jesus operates in perfect eternal union with the Father. Hence he heals the lame man with his word alone. And Church Father Methodius teaches that Solomon, thus called wisdom, the artificer of all things. Now we see that the wisdom Solomon spoke of as Christ. He who takes the dirt from the ground in Genesis 1 and fashions a man is he who takes the lame man in John 5 and makes him whole. He is Lord of all creation, Lord of the Sabbath day, but the Jews don't see it. The one who appeared to Solomon as the artificer of all things is revealing themselves to them, but they are lame in their faith. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. And the Jews recognize this claim. And the Jews recognize this claim of equality. Verily, verily, that is truly, truly. And when Jesus says truly, he means truth. He is the truth, the source and sustainer of all truth. It's a confrontational articulation which says to the Jewish leaders, you have been living a lie, and now I'm telling you the truth. Truly, truly. And Jesus launches into a glorious theological exposition that goes on to the end of the chapter. And in it, he makes it clear that he, the Son, is equal to the Father. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. We are entering into the great mystery of the Godhead, equality with God. The Jews understood the claim, total equality with the Father, as blasphemous. Jesus says, I can do nothing of myself. The unity, the coexistence of the two, one in nature, will and action. The Son and the Father are equal. Jesus sees the Father, sees his essence. No man can claim such a thing. The Son and the Father are equal in action. They doeth as one. It makes you wonder about the humanist materialist will for equality with one another, as generated by this spiritual equality that orders creation. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth, and he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. The Son sees all things that the Father does, and the Father loves the Son. From this we can learn how it is God is love, how God can love. Love is relational. So how did God love before creation? That's a quandary for the Unitarian conception of God, but not in the Christian Trinitarian Godhead. There is love between Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Up there in the uncreated realm, beyond our comprehension, but now being revealed to us in the Son of Man and the Son made flesh. Jesus teaches us with love. He is openly showing himself that we may marvel, and it is marvellous. That all men should honour the Son, even as they honour the Father. He that honoureth not the Son, honoureth not the Father which has sent him. We are to honour Jesus as we honour God. How utterly blasphemous this is to the ears of the Jews. Throws us into the stark decision that he either says who he says he is, or he is a madman or an evil deceiver. And he's clearly not the latter two. We have the choice to honour or honour not. Not a both and decision, but an either or. It's theo-ethical decision time. Verily, verily, he's telling us truly again. I say unto you, he that hears my word and believes on him that sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death to life. The polarities of heaven and hell are laid before us. The consequences of not accepting Christ. All the divisions and differences in life can be reduced down to this one decision: Christ or not. These characters have got a fire beneath them. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live. There's a range of directions you can go with this, but the core message and context with Jesus' conversation with the Jews here is to the spiritually dead. The now is part emphasises this, the present tense again. It just told us in the previous verse that he that hears his word has everlasting life, and now the dead are offered this life. Eliot's Bible commentary describes the world as a vast moral graveyard where men lie, dead in sin, with spirits buried in bodies which should be holy temples, but have become as unclean tombs. Into this graveyard comes Christ, opening our tombs and stirring our souls from slumber and indifference, giving us life. For as the Father has life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself. Equal in nature to God, having life in himself. This life in oneself is not something we humans have, nor the angels above. We are contingent beings. God alone has the power over life and death. It's hard to imagine how these Jews in Jesus' presence did not fall on their faces in fear and trembling. They are dead in their sins, and hath given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man, equal in judgment. Christ is judge over all, the source and sustainer of justice. Justice being another obsession of the modern secular humanist age, justice for all, but whose version of justice will serve all? If not Christ's, then it is man's justice that rules. Thus, the Son of God is equally Son of Man. He must be God to apply perfect justice and man to receive it. Perfect union of spirit and matter, obliterating our earthly dialectics. This humanist hall of mirrors, the moral graveyard which Christ rescues us from. The second Adam reversing the fall of the first Adam into death to a resurrection of life.